Greetings, and welcome back to the MCOC Encyclopedia. Today, we will be covering the Doctor of the Spotted Dimension, Spot. The portal-blocking, rupturing, and untouchable science nightmare. We will be breaking down all his abilities and the best ways to defeat him. I also say Spot way too many times in this video, and I will pin the first comment that I see that counts the right number of times that I say Spot or Spots. Right, let's dive in. Spot gains spots up to 10. When struck, Spot has a 20% chance to gain 1 spot. When Spot blocks, he will open a portal to perform a portal block. This gives him a stupidly high amount of block proficiency, and he will gain a spot every time you hit the portal block. Portal blocking also gives Spot a 20% chance per spot to resist heavy attacks and to block all unblockable attacks and specials. It also locks Spot in place so you can't push him back. Spots are the core of Spot's abilities, and we should avoid giving them to him as much as possible. Once Spot has 5 or more spots, the next time you strike Spot, he will go totally stun immune, gain an Untouchable passive causing you to miss all attacks and specials, and when you do miss, he will inflict you with a short but very potent Rupture debuff. Making contact with Spot whilst he is untouchable will also cause him to place much smaller but much longer ruptures onto you. Untouchable is paused during Spot's special attacks, and when it ends, Spot loses all spots. The wording here gets a little tricky though. The abilities state when an incoming attack would miss, you get the big rupture on you. But as you can see here with Professor X, that isn't the case. I would be missing here, and I should be missing here, but Professor X can bypass that when he has more than 25 charges. I get the small ruptures stacking up, but if I was getting the big ruptures, you would not only see them, but my health would be nothing by now. The wording here appears to be incorrect, or at least a bug within the game. Something that isn't written in Spot's kit, but should be noted, are his animations. This guy is all over the place. This can make it very difficult to know exactly when it's safe to punish his attacks, or when another one is coming, and you're going to get smacked in the face. In the special section of this video, I will make sure that as per usual, we have the specials in slow motion for you to see. It is worth taking the time, more than most champions, to learn his moveset. The new move tracker can be really helpful here as well, if you haven't turned it off. I will be leaving it on for this video, so you can always see what's going on. Spot's specials aren't that much of an issue to deal with on paper, but they have some unintended effects. Regardless of special use, Spot will gain 1 spot per bar of power spent, and if he somehow made it to 10 spots, he will also instantly trigger his Untouchable. The special 1 inflicts Spot himself with a buff immunity debuff for 10 seconds, and this duration is doubled if Spot had a 10 spots. Each time that Spot would gain a buff when this debuff is active, regardless of what either champion is doing, he will inflict you with a small rupture. These ruptures match the small ones he inflicts when you make contact with him whilst he is untouchable. This doesn't tend to come up much on defense, as the chance of Spot gaining a buff from a node is not high. The special 2 will inflict you with a relatively large physical vulnerability for 10 seconds if Spot is untouchable, and contact here is not needed, it just happens, when throwing it, and, as with the special 1, the duration of this is doubled if he had 10 spots. Each hit also deals a large burst of physical damage for each rupture Spot has inflicted since the last special 2, up to a cap of 50 ruptures. However, this damage only triggers on successful hits. Both the special 1 and special 2 are perfectly safe to block if Spot is not untouchable. If he is, then these hits count as contact, so you will have the small ruptures placed on you, but no additional effects will take place. The special 3 gives Spot max spots, and once per fight, if thrown with 10 spots, will increase the duration of all future ruptures by 100% for the rest of that fight. But as always, special 3s are best avoided. The Special 1 and Special 2 have some amazing animations on them, but you do need to be careful that you don't lose too much space from them. Particularly with the special 1, if you just spam dash back, you will be safe from it, but because he teleports to you for each hit, you will lose a lot of ground. It can be better to take a small amount of block damage to keep Spot back, or learn exactly when to dash back to lose the smallest amount of space possible. Spot's signature ability is not important for him on defense. For completeness' sake, it allows him to deal instant rupture damage if he hits you after portal blocking, and can grant him a decent fury if he strikes you when he is untouchable and you are recovering from a heavy or special attack. Very specific situations, and if you don't get hit, it doesn't matter. Spot does have a Prefight ability, but as he's on defense, this is irrelevant. So what do we need against Spot? Well, his primary pain point is his untouchable and his ruptures, but if we can prevent Spot from gaining spots, then he can't go untouchable, and that prevents a lot of his abilities. No spots, no untouchables, no ruptures. So let's start there. If Spot is affected with a Disorient effect, so debuff or passive, his portal block cannot trigger. This means you don't have to worry so much about hitting his block. I will leave a link below in the description to all champions that have access to Disorient, but the best ones in my opinion are Nick Fury and his special 1, Massacre or Massacre and the same, Hitmonkey and his light attacks when he's in Primal Rage, and Joe Fixit when he throws his special attacks when he has 1 pair. Spot also loses 1 spot if you strike him while he is recovering from a special attack, and he cannot gain spots by any means for 4 seconds afterwards. Nick Fury also counters miss when he has enough tactical charges, so he is a doubly good option here. Spot is also susceptible to ability accuracy reduction. This means we can use champions like Falcon or Crossbones to stop him gaining spots on hit, and Awakened Archangel will stop him doing anything once a few neuros are ticking. Remember, no spots, no untouchables, no ruptures. His portal block, however, is immune to ability accuracy reduction and will function normally, so hitting Spot won't give him spots, but hitting his portal block still will. Kingpin and Special 1 spam can also be an option here for the ability accuracy reduction from his Black ISO debuff, but if Spot ever does go untouchable, you can also use all the little ruptures to fuel your rage for even bigger damage. The next best set of options are champions that can counter miss. Professor X and Omega Sentinel are great options here, but there are many more. This lets you trigger Untouchable without him dealing you the large ruptures. You can see here that if I trigger Untouchable without a miss counter, I not only suffer the big rupture, but Spot goes instantly stun immune, meaning he can counter straight into me. Once you have triggered Untouchable with your miss counter, you can wait out the timer, and you won't have to worry about getting melted by the small ruptures either. You may get 1 or 2 of them if you make contact, but they aren't a big deal. There is currently 1 fully immune rupture champion in the game, and that's Scorpion, as long as you don't choose the rupture pre-fight. He's not the best option, but at a push he can work. Lady Deathstrike can gain temporary rupture immunity, but only when she's in the right mode, and gets hit by a special attack, and even then it's usually for less than 1 second. Not a particularly useful option here. At a push, you can just accept that you will get hit and take some damage. But what do I mean by this? Just know that when you trigger Untouchable, you will take a burst of rupture damage, and there's a good chance you will take some hits. If this won't kill you, then any champion can work. It isn't pretty, but knowing what is going on means that you can minimise that damage that you will be taking. So, Spot. When blocking, will portal block instead, giving him extremely high block proficiency, a chance to block unblockable attacks and heavies, and he cannot be moved. Has a chance to build spots on himself when struck, and will gain a guaranteed spot whenever the portal block is struck. At 5 or more spots, when struck directly, Spot goes untouchable. Missing him will deal you a large amount of rupture damage, and making contact at all when he is untouchable will inflict you with stacking but small longer rupture debuffs. The best counters here are champions that can prevent him building spots, either by inflicting Disorient, that means spots cannot portal block, or by using ability accuracy reduction to stop spots gaining spots on regular hits. Top options here are Falcon, Crossbones, and Archangel. Second best counters are champions that can counter miss, but you'll still have to watch out for the small ruptures as they can add up. Finally, Scorpion can be rupture immune if you do not choose the rupture Prefight, and if all else fails, knowing when he will go untouchable will allow you to minimise the damage you might still take. I hope this helps you against your future spots, and do let me know how your fights are going now. A reminder to count the spots, and I will pin the top comment that gets it right first. I'm currently working on 6.1.3 to continue the Act 6 run through, and I will put up another poll as soon as this video goes out so you can vote on the next champion you would like to see. Thank you, and I will see you next time. Spot, spot, spot.